questions are, would you apply social justice considerations to your decisions and why? Gene, would you start, please?
All right, first of all, let's begin with the Constitution of the United States is going to be followed in the courtroom that I'm in. But second of all, keep in mind, every time a judge hears a case and decides to make some sort of ruling or some sort of judgment or some sort of punishment, he's going to hear every single piece of evidence that's presented. That includes a situation where you have a first-time offender or a guy who's been down the road 3 or 4 different times. So when you say social justice, I think that's what you're talking about. Everybody's going to be treated fairly. Everybody will be treated based upon what evidence is presented. And guess what the prosecutor gets to do every time he comes to court? He gets to tell you, he's been arrested for this, 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 and this. Or the defense attorney can say, this kid's never been in trouble before in his life. That's the best way I can answer. Thank you.
I think I agree with Gene. I'll be blind without being blind, because I think judges have to listen to each set of facts individually and on their own merits. I don't think that necessarily applies social justice. That's being fair and impartial, which the Code of Judicial Conduct requires us to do. I will not prejudge cases. There won't be a class of citizens or a class of individuals that will be treated a certain way, because that would be inconsistent with the Constitution and inconsistent with the Code of Judicial Conduct. So I will apply the Constitution of the United States and the state constitution as well as the laws of our state of the United States.
What is social justice? Something's either just or it's unjust. Social justice is just one group wanting special treatment. That in itself makes it unjust. That's how you get into situations where you have judges who want to say, well, it's Sharia law. Or, well, what is your take on illegal immigration? It's illegal. Okay? That's my take on it. What's social justice? Justice is the same for this person and me and Sharon and Jane.
Again, to all three of you, what is unique about your experience and background for this particular job? What is unique about your experience?
I think probably what's most unique about my experience is the military has given me an opportunity to work really large programs, and that's what our justice system is. It's a lot of integral parts trying to work together. It's bringing people together and saying, you can do it a little bit different, and that'll help her, and we're in this together. When you've got programs as big as this, there's no way that they can be as efficient as they can. They're not going to be as efficient as they can be unless people think outside the box. Right now, I'll give you a perfect example. As soon as I saw that we have people that come to court, they're called pro se defendants. These are people who want to represent themselves and make a negotiation with the state of Texas. The law says that these people have to first be warned about the dangers and disadvantages of representing yourself. That's fine. The problem is you get a lot of people who are pro se who can't read, even in their own native language, because they didn't have an education. So we're paying $100 an hour, 4-hour minimum, to have an interpreter come in and read this 2-page document. And they said, well, it's required. No. How about I videotape that interpreter? We'll build a library for every language that's there, and we won't pay any more. My experience of running a $100 million program gives me the type of insight to see where we can make these changes.
I think what is unique about my experience that sets me apart from the other candidates is the depth of my experience. When I graduated from law school, about a year out, I would have told you that we all need to be specialized and that the little area of law that I practiced in was the most important and the hardest. And now that I've practiced 20 years, I know from experience that the more you do and the more experience you get in a broad depth of areas, the better it makes you in analyzing problems, the better it makes you in counseling clients, the better it makes you in preparing you to, I believe, being a judge. I've practiced in every area of law, and I disagree with a comment earlier that my criminal experience ended 15 years ago. I have a full file cabinet drawer full of criminal cases that did not end 15 years ago. And I still practice criminal law. I've done it from every aspect, not just the criminal defense, not just the prosecution, but also the appellate end, which is where you say, look at the entire entire big picture, to see where those errors are made, so I can stay out of the ditch as a judge. And I think finally, my experience as a hearing officer for 9 years, actually doing the work that I would be doing as a judge in the courtroom, and having to think through my decisions and make rulings that are going to withstand appellate scrutiny. And thankfully, I've never been reversed. And I've had to make some hard calls, and I know what that's like to exercise restraint as a judge. I know what it's like to have to exercise restraint in my rulings and to make rulings that are based on the law and that an appellate court will look at and withhold.
All right. County Court at Law number 2 handles Class A and Class B misdemeanors and some appellate Class Cs. Who commits Class A and Class B misdemeanors? 17-year-olds to 30-year-olds. They're the young people in our community. And unfortunately, they've made a mistake in their life. They're going in the wrong direction. What have I been doing the last 25 years? I've been working with young people to try to change them and try to help them go in the right direction. That's what's unique about me. I've got a life full of experience as a teacher, as an educator, as a youth leader, working with young people. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the cable's a little short here. I apologize for that. Politicians make promises all the time. How do we know that we can hold you accountable for all promises you make as a county court and law judge? Chief, would you start off, please?
I'm not sure if I can be called a politician. You know, currently I'm a businessman, I'm a sole practitioner, and I work very hard at what I do. The only promise I can give to you is I will follow the law and I will work hard every day. I expect to be at the courthouse at least by 8 o'clock. I expect to be at the courthouse at least until 5 o'clock. You know, as a former prosecutor, I remember being in court until past 6 o'clock and trying cases. If that's what needs to happen, that's what I'll do. As a politician, I'll do what I'm asked to do. I will do my job. Thank you very much.
Surely politicians don't make promises. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to make a promise to you unless I know I can keep it. And the only promises, the guideline post for me is the Constitution. And I believe our framers got it right when they designed the judiciary actually to be the weak branch out of the branches of government. We don't control the purse. Judges don't control the purse. That they don't make the rules. They apply them. And so the only promise I will make to you is that I will apply the law one case at a time, one citizen at a time. I'm not going to make budget decisions for other departments. I'm not going to make a promise to reduce the budget. I'm not going to make a promise to make policies that are going to change the way the money is spent in Collin County. That's not my constitutional role. So hold me to that. And I expect when we're back in 2 years that you will say, Sharon, did you follow the Constitution? And that's my only promise.
How do you know that we'll tell you the truth? I've been decorated with medals and decorations from the United States military almost 50 times. I've spent 22 years in the military, honor, integrity, country. All of that means a great deal to me. If you wonder why the prosecutors are endorsing me, because they know I'm going to give them a fair hearing. Why are the defense attorneys endorsing me? Because they know I'm going to give them a fair hearing. Why are the police agencies endorsing me? Because they know I'm going to give them a fair hearing. So I guess you can't really tell anything about a person, what they're going to do in the future, unless you take a full look at what they've done in the past. And I agree with Gene. I think that there is a lot of problems with juveniles in there. And I spent 22 years raising juveniles up to be young men.
It says, the next question, a Collin city judge was recently convicted of corruption and given probation. Do each of you agree with that decision?
I didn't see the evidence in that case. I didn't listen to it, so I don't know what was an appropriate punishment. I do believe in our jury system. That's what the jury thought was appropriate. I will tell you that it's difficult for me to think that any judge who sends people to prison for one felony could get probation for 9 felonies. But again, I wasn't there. I don't know. It's very difficult. It would be unfair for me to comment on whether that's a just punishment or not. But we have to, no matter who you elect, we have got to do one thing for sure. We have got to get people to believe in the justice system again. We cannot have this important part of our government not being trusted.
I too agree that I was not a part of that jury that heard the evidence, was not a part of the decision-making on that sentence, and I think it would be inappropriate and not just for me to comment upon it. And I believe it also could potentially violate the Code of Judicial Conduct. I do believe, however, that elected officials should be held to a high standard, judges should be held to a high standard, and I promise to bring the best of integrity to my approach to the bench.
I agree with both Barnett and Ms. Ravitch. Yes, commenting on a case like that, I believe, is a violation of judicial conduct. But let me just say this: I believe that particular case, after the verdict came out, it was a agreed plea. The prosecutor had something to do with what that particular judge got, as well as the judge accepting that plea bargain. What I want to tell you is, it's a tenet of this group: personal responsibility. If you committed a crime, you're guilty of that crime, you need to pay for that crime. Thank you very much.
How will you deal with an attorney or litigant who lies or abuses the process when you also depend on them for re-election?
All right. Right. First of all, an attorney is an officer of the court. When he goes to court and he does not tell the truth, he's in an official proceeding, he is committing a felony offense if he lies in court. It's called aggravated perjury. How do I feel about that? I think I just said it a few moments ago. Personal responsibility. You commit a crime, you're guilty of that crime, you pay for that crime. Simple as that.
There are avenues available for judges if lawyers come in, and unfortunately, I think we in our profession, one of the things I remember from my state bar ethics preparation course, taking the exam, is you have a duty to rat on your friends. That was said to us I don't know how many times. Lawyers have a duty to report each other to the state bar for violating the state bar disciplinary rules. And I think we all could be well served by reading those disciplinary rules and following them. I believe lawyers should be candid with the court, and I will use all appropriate avenues available to me. It comes to my attention. There are varying degrees of sanctions, and I do believe lawyers, regardless of their station in life as a lawyer, they have a duty to be truthful in court and truthful to the process, because I think it hurts us all. Our whole profession has suffered many blows as long as I've been licensed, and I think we need integrity back in our profession.
When I read this question, the last part of it jumps out at me, and it says, when you also depend on them for re-election. I don't depend on people that abuse the system for re-election. I'd rather find another job. Okay? I was recently appointed by Judge John Roach Jr. Currently, I'm the president-elect of the Collin County Criminal Defense Lawyers Association. And Judge Roach held another lawyer in contempt of court. And he called me in and said, I'm appointing you to be the special prosecutor representing the court on this charges, and I'm sending this attorney to jail. And I asked him, why don't you appoint a prosecutor? I'm the president of the defense bar, and you're asking me to step into a prosecutorial role against another lawyer. And he said, because I think that you'll do it justice. You do have to do that. I didn't enjoy the process, but it was incumbent upon me to fulfill that role. We had a lawyer that had stepped out of line, that had committed contempt of that court, and we need to police each other.